All right, welcome back, everybody. Now, yesterday was Corpus Christi and a time for planting. And you know what planting speaks to is agriculture. So we're actually going to be chatting with the Ministry of Agriculture. And to be precise, it's Nigel Ramkilawan, who's an Agricultural Officer 1 with the Ministry of Agriculture, Land and Fisheries. Now, we are going to be speaking about vermicomposting. So without any further ado, good morning, Nigel.
Good morning.
Thank you for joining us this morning. It's wonderful to have you. And we are speaking about vermicomposting, and that's a pretty big word, and not everyone may understand what it is. So please define for us what vermicomposting is.
Okay. Well, good morning, everybody. My name is Nigel Ramkilawan, representing the ETIS division. And this morning, I'm going to talk about vermicomposting. So basically, vermicomposting is the use of earthworms, right, to decompose organic waste, right? And I usually do this as part of my course, part of my composting course. The other type of composting I also conduct is a hot composting, where you use large heaps and you use microbes to decompose the organic matter. But the reason why I choose vermicomposting is because it's a lot easier for householders and backyard farmers to do.
So on that, so vermicomposting is basically composting with the use of earthworms. So what type of earthworms do you use?
All right, so the type of earthworms we use in the tropics, you call them the African night crawlers, right? The other type of earthworms that is most popularly used in the northern hemisphere, like if you do some research and stuff on vermicomposting, you will see a lot on red wigglers, right? But those are temperate type worms, right? The worms that we use for vermicomposting in the tropics, like in Trinidad here, is the African night crawlers. I have a sample of it I will show you. Right, so this is an example of the African nightcrawler. Is this the normal worm you see in the ground?
Right.
All right. They are actually the most rigorous worm to do vermicomposting.
Really? Why is that?
Because they tend to feed a lot quicker than the red wigglers, and they multiply a lot as well, more than the red wigglers. So these guys, this is an adult wiggler, right? They can give you about, say, average 7 earthworms a week.
A week, wow.
Right?
All right, so how do you go about vermicompost? Nigel? Nigel, can you hear me? All right, so how do you go about doing vermicompost?
Oh, all right. So in conducting vermicomposting, right, as I was saying, vermicomposting is the decomposition of organic waste. So I have some samples of some of the waste that you could use for vermicomposting. Now, what I typically use for my vermicomposting is mostly kitchen scraps.
Okay.
Right? And when you're using kitchen scraps, you tend to focus more on peelings alone. All right? Like I have watermelon peelings or the husks. I have here pumpkin peelings. I have some banana peelings.
Right.
You can also use eggshells as well. All right? And when you're using kitchen scraps, you would want to steal them. Meaning that you want to dry them for about 2 or 3 days, so they wouldn't be too soggy.
Right.
Right. Something to note: when you're using kitchen scraps, you don't want to use something big like this.
Okay.
Right. So you want to cut this up smaller, so the worms will. It will be easier for the worms to feed on. All right. Another aspect is that you don't want to be using things like these as well. But for lack of a better word, with the guts in them.
Okay,
right?
Why not?
So that is why I mentioned only limit your scraps to peelings alone. Right? Like this. Right? Yeah. You can also use eggshells as well. Right?
Right.
So I combine my kitchen scraps with cow manure, because from experience, I have found that the vermicompost that you get from mixing these two is an excellent blend.
Rich. Yeah.
Right? So from these crops and this cow manure, you can get this.
Wow.
This is pure vermicompost, or this is what you call in some terms worm castings.
Right.
All right, so this is excellent. This is one of the best organic fertilizers to use. In other countries, is considered black coal, has a high amount of plant nutrients,
Right.
beneficial microorganisms. It also contains a lot of plant growth regulators, right? But one of the most important aspects of this worm casting is that it has what you call disease suppression properties. Right? So when you incorporate this in your plant, right, it tends to fend off a lot of plant pathogens. So you don't have to use no synthetic fungicides to spray on your plants. Also, this is a replacement for your blue corn and your other synthetic fertilizers as well. All right?
Right.
So the first thing you need is a bin like this. This is probably about 15 gallons. All right? And the first thing you do is you put a bedding material at the bottom of the bin, which is probably about 2 inches thick. Now, for my bedding material, I use cardboard.
Okay.
Shredded cardboard, because it's easily available all over. Right? So you can also use dry grass or dry leaves. Right? So for this size of bin here, if you could harvest on the ground about 100 earthworms, this will be sufficient. Right? You can also purchase the earthworms as well. There are some farms that actually sells earthworms.
Okay.
Right? So you place your bedding material, right? And then after you place your food scraps, so I will show you. So you place about a handful of food scraps. Let's make it 2 handfuls.
Right.
Right? Right, so you place your food scraps in one area of the bin, like in the corner. And then, but mind you, the worms, there are earthworms inside there, right?
Okay.
And you always cover with some cow manure. Right? So I have placed some food scraps and some cow manure in this area here about a week ago. So I will just dig it up and see how they are feeding. Right? So you can see they actually have eaten up all the food scraps.
Right.
So what you are seeing there is, you can say 70% worm castings. Right?
That's incredible.
Right, so basically they will take, for them to fully digest this food scraps and kitchen scraps and manure, it'll take about a week. Right, so in this system here you're using, you would want to feed at least once a week.
Once a week. Okay.
Now things to note, you don't want to use any meat or dairy products,
all right,
plastic or metal.
Why no meat or dairy?
Because they don't really decompose meat. They are not carnivores.
I see.
If you want to use, there's a particular type of composting where you could use black soldier fly larvae to decompose your meats and your dairies and stuff.
Okay.
But that's a whole new topic.
Right.
Right? So the worms will strictly decompose plant-based material and eggshells as well.
Right.
Right? So I have this this bigger bin here. So what you are seeing in this whole bin here is just pure worm castings. Right?
Right.
Fed from strictly kitchen scraps and manure. Right? So in this big system here, it starts off like this.
Right.
Right? And probably about next average about 6 months after, you could get it like this.
Okay.
Right?
And how do you separate the worms from How do you separate the worms from the worm cast?
All right. So what I do, I usually use 1/5 wire mesh.
I see.
Right, and I sift them out. All right. Um, I use this actually. This actually works. This works well.
All right.
Right? It's unconventional, but it works well for me. Right? There's a kitchen cover. Right?
Right.
So I place my I actually place some vermicompost inside here and I sift them out.
Right.
The worms will separate, and I take the worms and I could incorporate back the worms in the existing bin.
Okay.
Or I can make a new bin.
All right. Well, with that, Nigel, that's all we do have time for this morning. I want to thank you for joining us. And we are now going to kick it upstairs. And so thank you very much. That was Nigel Ramkilawan from the Ministry of Agriculture, Land and Fisheries. He's an Agricultural Officer 1. We're now going to kick it upstairs to the CCC News Center for the news at 7 o'clock. Then we'll be back with the second half of the show. Stay with us.